Monday, May 13th meeting of the Pine Bluffs Town Council. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is the agenda.
I move to amend the agenda to add a manufacturer's off-premise permit for Pine Bluffs Distilling to the consent agenda under item 4B.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to amend the agenda to add an item 4B. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Do we need to do the agenda again?
Yes. I move to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is our scholarship presentations. We have 3 scholarships this year. Trevor, if you want to come up, I'll do mine and then yours up. So the first scholarship we have, I could have waited, is Alexis Sanchez. Come on up. Give you this giant check. And also your scholarship. Here you go. You come over here. And also we'd like to present you with this challenge coin from the town of Pine Bluffs. And so can you tell us a little bit about what your plans are?
I plan to go to Casper College to start there before transferring to UW, and I'm going to study marketing.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The next recipient is Hasmin Garcia. Congratulations. Where's your... Good? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, so I'm going to the University of Wyoming to study human development and family science, and I'm going into the master's program, hopefully for occupational therapy.
Now I'm going to turn it over to Trevor Moran to present the ceremony.
Most of you probably know my dad, but Dad was a pretty amazing man who dedicated his life not only to his family but to the public, more specifically even Pine Bluffs. He started his public service as a member of the Air Force, 1968 I think. And after the military, he was a police officer. He entered the police force in New Jersey before relocating here. We moved here in 1982. He served here as a police chief, or as a police officer first, and then the chief for the better part of 28 years, and later as a town council member for the town for 12. So this year, and I want to thank you all for doing this and giving me the opportunity to present for him. They started the inaugural Thomas C. Moran Memorial Scholarship. And it's being awarded to an individual who strives to serve the public just as Dad did. The student should have been accepted into a college program aligned with public service, which includes criminal justice, pre-law, public administration, or similar programs. Also acceptance into a military branch. This year's recipient, the inaugural recipient, is Juliana Nash. Juliana has been accepted into Northwest College in Powell.
Yes.
They did a little interview on you, and during that, she got accepted in her junior year of high school, so she's been working on it already. She's already got a few classes underway. Her goal is to be a corrections officer to help lower recidivism, I can never say that word, recidivism rates, aid in the reform of the public and criminal justice system, and get incarcerated people some help in rehabilitation. She believes that she can help change the criminal mindset to one that can be released back into society as a productive member of the community. Juliana will not stop there, though. She'd like to eventually work her way up to being an warden of a prison. Considering our goals is to improve how we reform the incarcerated population and be a helping hand to those who are trying to improve, we would say she is a shoo-in for the job. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
So, same things here.
Thank you.
Scholarship. The pin. And get a nice little plaque that goes along with it.
Gorgeous.
Nice.
Thank you.
More pictures.
I haven't been doing this forever, but every time I say this, if you're into civics, you could stay, but you certainly don't have to. So we have kind of an agenda tonight, so that's entirely up to you, but thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank you.
We take checks.
Yeah.
Do we need to keep the checks?
I didn't have the heart to say.
Austin?
That's it, send the cops out.
That's what he does for a living. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business. Item number 1, Resolution 2024-10, a resolution adopting the Cheyenne Laramie County Emergency Operations Plan. And I believe we have Jean
They have a
West
handout.
here to
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council. I'm Janine West. I'm the emergency manager for Cheyenne Laramie County and, well, all of its jurisdictions within. I'm here today to present the resolution for the adoption of the Emergency Operations Plan for Laramie County. This is a plan that's updated only every 2 years. However, and we normally just run it through the commissioners and then advise the towns of the changes. But we did some major revisions this year, changing it from the emergency response plan to the emergency operations plan, which puts it more in line with our state statutes that we fall under and keeps us in sync with the rest of the counties in the state. I provided you a summary because I'm sure you all had a lot of time to read the entire plan. Just kidding.
There's
It's okay.
199 pages.
Did you read it all? There'll be a test. I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
Thank you for summarizing.
So within the summary, this plan aligns with our 5 mission areas. So we have mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery, and prevention under the national response framework that every jurisdiction within the United States falls under, including our national incident management system and how we coordinate together. So within the document, some of the biggest changes was the base plan. And that describes the plan, it talks about our vulnerabilities. It talks a lot more in detail about roles and responsibilities of our senior officials. So what are the expectations of our senior officials, our mayors, our councils, commissioners even during large emergencies or disasters. The plan we had before was great, but it needed some better definition, and actually it needed to be read easier. I mean, it was like, what? So we changed that up a bit. It also talked about Emergency Operations Center. We had that in an incident command format previously, which kind of gets confusing when you have incident command at your command post at the scene of an incident. So we switched over to the incident support model, which is what the state is moving to as well, which makes it a little bit easier flow when you're talking about who's doing what during large incidents. It also describes the levels of response that we've now changed to, which is level 3 is just everyday stuff. Level 2 is emergency management's been activated, and we have provided a command post on scene, or we're within a command post, and we're pulling in different support functions. And that really happens when it's beyond the capabilities of our police, fire, and EMS folks. Additional state, county, or at times federal resources coming in to help out. And then, so level 1, or level 3, 2, and then level 1 is a full EOC activation. And that is, of course, in coordination with our senior officials. So I make the recommendation to a mayor or our county commissioners, say, hey, I think that we need to get this done. So in Pine Bluffs, we would bring the resources out here and get that set up for you, coordination with the mayor, or if he's on vacation, one of you, whoever that would be. I'll call Kim and wake her up. Tell her, send somebody. It also talks about public information and warning, how that's done, and then how it works with emergency disaster assistance through state or federal resources. So you hear about emergency declarations, state declarations, or federal disaster declarations. How does that actually work? What does it all mean? What does it mean for our residents and us as government officials? So it goes into a little bit of that. The second section talks about our emergency support functions. So we have lifelines that we follow, and how that integrates with our emergency support functions, our utilities, our first responders, our non-government organizations like Red Cross, Salvation Army, our transportation folks, and in line with the 20-something, 25, 26 core capabilities that we follow per FEMA standards. So you guys don't have to remember all of that. We look at each one of these categories whenever we respond to anything and which one it applies for. That's how we do our after action reports and how we follow along. So, and then beyond that is our incident support annex that talks about some of the major incidents that could happen around here, and some ways that we can begin the process to recover from that incident. There's not a step-by-step in any of this plan. I can tell you that right now. As soon as you do step-by-step, it's out the window. So it's just a general idea of who needs to be at the table. What are some of the starting things that we need to do? And some basic description of that. Support annexes are some of the guidelines outlining like specific tasks and functions that we'd have to do, such as the financial side of it. Where do we begin to track this? Public information, stuff like that. And then planning annexes is a short annex. It identifies all the plans that are annexes to the main emergency operations plan. So our coroners, mass fatality plan, pandemic planning, cyber planning, shelter planning. There's, I think, 12 of them on there. So there's quite a few that may not be directly tied to us, but we work with other agencies to help coordinate the updates to those. So that's basically the summary of the plan, and I'm asking for your adoption of this plan. And we have provided an electronic copy, and then once it's completely adopted, next I go to the county commission, then we'll provide a paper copy to this office for you. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
I don't think I really have any questions. I support or appreciate your efforts in this. I mean, it is an extensive plan for sure, and but an important one, and so
Thank you.
appreciate all the
Well,
work
thank you.
that gets put into this.
I move to adopt the resolution 2024-1.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2024-10. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution adopted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is item 2, ordinance 2024-02 on the third reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, adjusting the regular meeting schedule and providing for an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 2024-02 on the third reading.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2024-02 on the third reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote. Dave?
Aye.
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 Ordinance approved. I guess, I don't know what to say. Passed. Item number 3 is ordinance 2024-03 on the first reading. Annual appropriations ordinance for the town of Pine Bluffs, Wyoming for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-03 on the first reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2024-03 on the first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, I would like to turn it over to the Mayor Pro Tem, Councilwoman Litza, to handle this matter, as I am recusing myself from this matter.
Item number 4 is a land exchange by warranty deed between the town of Pine Bluffs and Fronstrom Farms. Alex, do you have anything you would like to?
Sure. Yeah, the exhibit in the packet might be a little difficult for you to understand. There are, I have 2 separate exhibits mapping out parcels, but essentially what we have here is just a cleanup on the boundary line so that the property owners aren't straddling the utility easements and so on. So the parcel exchange is in the exact amount of the property is identical. It's pretty much the same kind of property. An exchange of this type is contemplated and does not offend any state statute. So what it's going to end up being is a transfer from Fortune Farms to Pine Bluffs in exchange for property from Pine Bluffs to Fortune Farms. So that's essentially what it is. The deed that you have calls out 2 conveyances, and as you can see by looking at those, they're essentially mutual consideration for the transaction. And I do have new exhibits for you from our surveyor person. So just swapping property.
Okay.
And obviously, since the mayor has an interest in Fortune Farms, he's recused himself, and that's appropriate.
Okay, well, I will hear a motion.
I move to approve the land exchange between the town of Pine Bluffs and Fortune Farms LLC.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the land exchange by warranty deed between the town of Pine Bluffs and Formstrom Farms. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5 under new business is the zoning discussion for 926 East 10th Street. I believe we have a representative here.
Hello. I don't know, did you guys all receive my email about the address?
Yes.
I had
Can you
sent,
state your name?
oh, my name's Esther Alexander, and we're looking at purchasing the property at 926 East 10th Street. And our issue is, it's zoned residential ag. It has a little over 3 acres, and the home is large enough that we wanted to run a small business from the basement of the property. It has its own separate entrance and driveway and everything to get to that area. So we're just wondering, it's going to be like a pet sitting, like pet hotel type of a thing. We would only take a maximum of 3 to 4 dogs at a time. And it would probably be more like 1 or 2 at a time. And so we just needed to find that out before we actually purchase the property, if it would be okay to run the business from the home.
Well, I'll just go first here, and we may have been not 100% sure if you've read the zoning and are fully familiar with where it is, but we don't really have a residential ag. It's in a residential, which
Okay.
makes it kind of our most basic residential
Okay,
zoning. But I'm not sure that matters, and that these are not livestock, and so
no,
even if it was zoned differently, it's still domesticated animals, and
right,
so it doesn't really fit the description. Anyway,
Okay.
but just to be clear, it's zoned A residential.
Okay.
Now, you butt up against property that is zoned differently, but it wouldn't really change the use of the property. I think you're close to A1, which
Okay.
allows for some livestock.
yeah, I think one of the issues was, we have dogs of our own, but the property is set up to where the fenced area for our dogs would be on the exact opposite side of the house. So this business would be run on the other side of the house. So there would never be any interaction with our animals at all. But we're just wondering if it's gonna be okay to have our dogs there plus extra dogs to.
So how many dogs would you have?
We have 3 right now. And then the business, I mean, it would be depending how many, dogs the clients have. but we were gonna accept up to 1 to 4 at one time from one client. So it wouldn't be, it's not like a regular boarding facility where they just take multiple dogs. It's gonna be more like a little pet hotel. It's gonna be like an apartment in our basement, that we would run the business from.
Okay.
And you had indicated the dogs wouldn't be outside unsupervised, or?
No, no, we'd fence an area on that side, but my husband works from home. I would be running this business, so I would be home at all times too. And if I was gone for some reason, the dogs would be inside. So there wouldn't be like excessive barking or anything like that.
So which side of your property would it?
It would be on the south side.
You would fence an area on the south
Yes.
side?
And there's actually an entrance there that goes to the basement, and that's where we would have, when people were dropping off or picking up dogs, that's the driveway they would use. So it wouldn't be our actual driveway, it would be the one on the south side of the house. And I do have a picture of the house, I mean, if you guys want to see how that's set up, but,
There's an existing fenced-in area to the north then?
yeah, and that's the existing fenced-in area would be for our dogs. And then we would eventually put fencing around the whole property, it's just not there yet. And then that would be, definitely supervised, if we let the dogs that we're boarding run out there, it would be all supervised. So it wouldn't be like loose dogs running around.
So would this fall under the guidelines of having a kennel? Because one of the guidelines of having a kennel was that you had to have approval from the neighbors. But I don't know whether this falls under that.
I'm not sure we fully have that. I mean, it's not in our animal ordinance, it refers to a kennel, but we don't really, I don't think we specify any of that, but what we further, I think we've asked people in the past, what you're asking for is a conditional use permit.
Right.
And to get a conditional use permit, we usually take plenty of guidance from your neighbors about operating a business out of a residential address.
Okay.
And so I think that's where we're at is taking comment about what that looks like. And obviously, there was, and I guess I'll fire that off because Jana had sent me her thoughts, was unable to be here tonight, but she had a concern from one of the neighbors, which was the location of the kennel, and I think you answered that. And they'll primarily be inside. I think that's, I mean, not,
Yeah.
they have the ability to be inside.
Yeah, I think the house on that side of the property, the neighbor's house is about maybe 2 acres away. It's the house down the hill,
Right.
if you're familiar with it.
Yes. Is this, I guess her question is this an appointment thing? I think there's some concern about traffic and.
Yeah, it would be by appointment.
And so how often do you think you would have a changeover?
I would assume that somebody would want to come look at the facility probably and meet us, and then after that would just be, drop off, pick up. So say somebody's going out of town and they drop off their dog for 3 days or something, then they would drop them off and then pick them back up. So it wouldn't be, there wouldn't be, traffic going in and out for any reason, except if they wanted to come, look at the facility, look at our little pet hotel and see if they wanted to board their dogs there.
I think the last,
well, a couple questions, but one of the last ones is like, would a facility like this require proof of, I mean, the neighbor who's asking this also has and we changed our animal ordinances, but they fit under the grandfather piece of our animal ordinance, so they have a large number of dogs.
Okay.
And so I think the concern is, like, are we verifying their paperwork? Like,
Yes.
are they vaccinated, are they?
Yes, that would be one of the things we would do,
All these
yeah.
type of things.
Yeah, we would make sure that we're inspected and certified before we actually started running the business. In fact, we have to remodel a little bit to be able to do this, so that's why it was important for us to find out if we could even do it. That's why we haven't even put an offer on the house yet. So
Okay.
that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, we would become certified and also licensed.
And I think the other just general concern, and, you know, they have a lot of dogs, and they're in a close proximity.
Right,
And so we're talking about dogs getting going and barking with one another, and I don't even wanna, I'm not passing judgment about what it
Sure.
looks like and how it's
Yeah.
handled, I just don't know these things, and so that
Right.
is one of their concerns, and I guess it would be a concern of mine if I lived in that area, about how dogs foreign to the neighborhood interact outside,
Right.
you know.
well, yeah, what our plan is we would have a small run right off the side of the house that would be just for the boarded dogs, and then we would eventually have a fence up in between the property lines. And I don't have the property line information, but I was trying to get that from the city.
Sure.
Because I think the property goes far enough out that if we put a fence between that as well, that would be just double protection. So it would ensure that there wasn't any, you know, we don't want any dogs up against the same fence. You know what I'm saying? We don't want any like fence fighting type of a thing. So it would be a very small area right off the side of the house. And then we'd build another fence out on the property line.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Do we have anyone else who wants to comment on this?
I'm actually the property owner.
Okay,
Not here for this, but I was here for the other thing, but I stayed.
okay.
I
If you're gonna speak, please come up.
Do you want me to go ahead and sit down?
Yeah, and we can recall you if we have more questions.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jennifer Dawson. I actually own the property. So I can just help elucidate some of that property situation. The people that I think we're talking about that live on the next house down from us, south to us, have at least 3 to 4 dogs of their own. They foster dogs. They have a fence that they keep their dogs in already within their larger property line. And so, if there was to be a run on the side of the house plus another fence, it would be very good to keep the dogs separated. There would be no contact between any of them, so. Do you guys have any other questions about the property or anything? There is a fair bit of space between the houses. They're not close together up there, and there's nothing behind us but the Gross's ranch, so.
I don't have anything clear. Do you have anything else for?
The properties are large enough that it's not like,
Not on top of each other.
it's not like you're on top of each other. These are multi-acre parcels, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm a property owner over there. I live at 913 East 10th Street. And my concern is the traffic going up and down the road. I have already had 2 cats ran over on that road. The roads are it's not a paved road, so it's a dirt road. I have 4 kids that play outside all the time. And my cats are always getting attacked by stray dogs. And I just don't want all the commercial, businesses are meant to grow. So it's for dogs now, but who knows what the future holds. And I just don't want all the traffic completely going up and down that road. And I believe that road's a private road, if I'm not mistaken.
There is that.
So I oppose it
typical-
completely. I'm not for
There
it.
is
My
that
family's not for it, and I just don't want it. So that's all I had to say about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm also property owner up there, 911 East 10th. And as Jesse was saying, I think one of the big things would be traffic. I got kids, they're always playing. One of the reasons I built that fence last year was because of the traffic there, especially at that corner, there's no stop sign. So people coming in and out, they're always coming up into my driveway and Theobald's driveway because it's not very well marked where the road's going. Kids are just learning how to ride bikes over there. So there's a lot of kids. I got probably like 6 little girls at my house during the summer almost every day. And so that'd probably be my biggest concern. My second is, I've got all those kids out there, and if dogs got out, ran down, we don't know temperament or anything like that. So those are just some of my concerns. I mean, I'd love to see a stop sign at that intersection, but that's about all I got. So my big concerns. So.
Do you have any questions for them?
Thank you.
Not really, other than that when I was reading the other ordinances on the animals, and it appears to fall under the guise of basically a kennel where you're boarding other animals. And the conditional approval is based on the neighbors not objecting to what you're doing, and it's clear that the neighbors here object to this. And so that would be my reluctance to approve it, would be just purely that the neighbors are saying, no, we don't want it. Even though the parcels of land are pretty large, and I don't see them being running up on top of each other. But
Well, I think certainly the traffic is a concern, and I understand also that it's not, we can't predict the amount of traffic. And one of the issues, I guess, that I have is that we can't predict. Like, we can say what its use is today and give you approval for that use because we think it's really low use or very specific. But we don't license businesses typically in this town. We don't control how your business grows. But the one thing we do control in my mind is, a conditional use in a residential area. I don't know. I guess I'm inclined to think that whether or not it's officially stated, the part of the consideration for a conditional use is the surrounding neighbors and how they feel about a conditional use outside of the zoning that was there when they purchased their property. And so that's a concern of mine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was kind of why I had brought that conditional use up to you, Mayor, was that I do think that this affects the neighbors. So just wanted to make sure that we were able to get buy-in from you guys, hear your concerns, hear your positive feedback as well. So thank you guys for taking that time. I think that helps us come to not a decision. We're not really making one today. Nobody's applying for the actual conditional use permit, but that gives us some.
I think this is something next Wednesday we will. Is that workable for everyone?
Yeah.
Just to make a decision. Does anybody have any other questions or comments for people?
I don't.
Not
I guess
regarding this.
I do have one question for Alex. how does that formally work on a conditional use permit? Like, is this, correspondence enough to be the application?
That's a very good question. I didn't see this one coming, but I don't think, in skimming through the zoning ordinance, I don't think there's a specific process laid out for conditional use permits, other than the fact that they have to be approved. So, you know, I've seen it kind of ebb and flow. I think sometimes we've had staff, you know, survey neighbors and that kind of thing. Sometimes people show up at meetings. You know, those are hard calls. Home occupations in a Res A are permissible under the conditional use permit 20-203A4. So, I mean, you can certainly grant it, it's there, but it's, you know, it's a conditional kind of thing, and, you know, you're not required to, and there's no particular, that I'm aware of, and Kim helped me out here, but I don't think there's a lot of guidance on, you know, how those actually, we don't really have the, I mean, if it's there, it's not in the zoning ordinance. But I could, what I should probably do is take a look at the code as a whole and communicate that to Kim so that when you're in a position where you need to make a decision, another meeting down the road or something, you have a little better foothold there. Councilman Michaud mentioned kennels, and maybe you can help me find where that came up in the.
Okay, I'll have to dig, because that was
Okay.
100 pages in on,
It's in our animal ordinance,
In the
and
animal
basically it says that if you own more
Animal
than 4.
shelter,
No.
No,
No.
it basically says if you own more than 4,
More
it could be
than 4.
construed as a
Oh.
kennel.
oh, I saw that, yeah, you had that four
and
animal limit,
that if you want to run a kennel, you have to have
gotcha.
approval by the neighbors. That was the one that I saw as a sticking point.
I think the other difficulty in doing this, and I understand the position you're in, I really do, and you're welcome to express your concern.
Sure.
I don't want to co-opt it, but it's a good one.
No, I just was curious, Alex, for you, how do we give conditional use when they are not the property owner yet? Because my understanding of those is like, it doesn't actually go with the property, it's just like the homeowner at the time, correct?
I don't know if that's true.
Oh,
Also scary.
but also, how do we give conditional use when they're not the owner yet?
Well, the existing owner would have to be the applicant, I think, on that. Because it's,
So then does it transfer?
I think it would, yeah, especially under the circumstances where we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, and here's my other thing is I think that's a lot to think about, and I'm happy that we had input from several parties involved. I think it is, in my opinion, it is just what it is. It's a conditional use permit
Yeah.
for home occupation. And given that it's conditional, I think one of the kind of mitigating conditions of this is its location. It's favorable because it's such a big lot, but it's not favorable because of the access is in a fairly complicated you know,
It's basically
road
on a private
system.
drive, the access is.
And also, there is that, you're absolutely right about that, and I don't really wanna get into all of that tonight, but what you're saying is not true, or is true, and I find that to be a particularly important part of this, is that it's not on, you know, it's not on West Fifth Street or something where there's some reasonable expectation that people are coming and going with more regularity than others. So, I don't know. Any other comments, concerns?
I don't think so. I think I agree with what you all have said. I don't have an issue with the use of that property as a business of this type, but the access to the property is the biggest concern.
So are we in agreement to not?
Yeah, I move to table this discussion until the May 22nd meeting. Thank you.
If I might, point of order, could we make that a motion to postpone?
Yep, I move to postpone this discussion to May 22nd.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone this discussion until May 22nd. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Item number 6 is the real estate agreement with Frontier Home and Ranch Real Estate. Kim, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, Mayor and Council, we would like to enter into an agreement and a contract with Frontier Home and Ranch Real Estate to represent the town in selling properties in the Prairie View subdivision. Frontier Home and Ranch Real Estate has extensive knowledge working with developments. They are a previous resident of the town of Pine Bluffs, so they're very familiar with the area. Alex has reviewed the agreements and has stated that they meet our needs as far as a contract goes.
I move to approve the real estate agreement for Frontier Home and Ranch Real Estate.
How did you arrive at them?
We were approached by a couple of different real estate agencies, and Frontier Home and Ranch was the one that they were, I don't want to use the word persistent, it's not a negative thing, but they assisted with helping us partner with different developers during our initial discussions on the north property and how we would like to move forward with the development out there. They have also provided some other guidance on marketing and how they thought we should move forward with that. And all of that work was done at no cost to the town of Pine Bluffs.
I think that's a good summary of, I think it was pretty organic, really. We were looking for some guidance and even trying to get it off the ground and where to head, and they provided a lot of useful information along the way. And
Yeah, and they coordinated some meetings with us and a couple of different developers and a construction management firm.
Do their fees compare favorably with the other agencies that you?
I believe they are comparable.
yeah, I
They seem about right in line to me.
Yes.
And it is a bit wonky at this point, you know, we're not there yet, but I think you're, you know, it's been out there for a while, but I also think, you know, you have to kind of get out in front of it a little bit and try to start pre-marketing some stuff. So it probably is maybe a little bit early, but it's still getting in the ballpark of time when we need to decide what we're gonna do. Alex?
Mayor, just a couple of comments. The specific area of representation wasn't, I don't think, I mean, it was awkward to list it in there. So I don't know whether this is a situation where you want to designate certain areas or a certain set of lots or something and try to sequence the sales for, you know, to sort of ease the burden of infrastructure and that kind of thing. That's, I don't know if you've talked about that or not, but that's something that happens typically. The other thing is, that their, commission was 5%, and that's right smack where I would expect it to be, so.
And that's the other thing is I think, you know, despite not having the infrastructure yet, we have a plat now. We can sell off of that plat. I mean, that, you know, that's for us to work out, but certainly trying to recapture some of our money, you know, as early on as we can in the project would only benefit us. So while we're not rushing right out tomorrow to sell lots, we do need to start getting everything in motion.
Yes. And Ms. Smith will be at our next council meeting to provide an overview of how it is that we will work together as a team and what her recommendations are and her guidance on moving forward.
Good.
This agreement would only apply to the north property, is that correct?
That's correct. Phase 1 only of the north property.
And also has I'd have to go back and look, it has
2 years.
yeah.
Yes, a 2-year. It's a 2-year contract, and there is a clause in there that, you know, if for whatever reason we're not pleased with the services, then we can discontinue the contract.
Okay.
Well, I have a motion to accept the agreement with Frontier Home and Ranch Real Estate.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the real estate agreement with Frontier Home and Ranch Real Estate. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to visitor comments. We have Don Hollingshead here with us.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm Don Hollingshead. I am running for Laramie County Commissioner. A little bit of my background, I spent, born and raised here. Children are living here, grandchildren living here, third generation Laramie County resident. Background, 27 years in law enforcement before I retired from the Sheriff's Department. I spent a lot of time out here in the rural areas of Laramie County as the rural sergeant for about 7 years. So I'm very acquainted with the needs of the rural population, whether it's Pine Bluffs, Burns, Carpenter, Albin. My background in law enforcement, I spent about 15 or so years in administration. I ran all of the patrol units within the Laramie County Sheriff's Department to include SWAT, EOD, K-9 for the specialties. But my last assignment was running the jail for the 5 years, my last 5 years there. During that time, I gained a great understanding of large budgets, the $27 or $24 million budget of the Laramie County Sheriff's Department Detention Center, as well as all of the aspects that go along with that for liability mitigation and understanding the use of resources. I also worked through the jail through the pandemic, so I am very versed at crisis management and mitigation. What I would like to see for Laramie County is continued growth, business growth, but it needs to be, have a direction to it. It needs to be sustainable, it needs to be diversified, and it needs to be reasonable with what we want as residents of this community. We have a long history, Laramie County does, and I want to see things coming here that meshes well with our background or heritage or history of Laramie County. So those are the things that I look for. One of the things that I bring to the table is my background in media relations and communication. I spent some time at the FBI National Academy and took courses in media relations. I was also the PIO for the Laramie County Sheriff's Department. So I'm good at getting the word out there to the community of what we're doing. One of the things I'd like to see with the commission is, I'm not going to knock anything they do, but I think they could better relay to the public the positive things that the commission does on a daily basis or yearly basis. And I want to be able to bring that to the public's attention and be able to work with the public and getting that information out there so they better understand what their government does, what their local county government does, how it interacts with the towns and jurisdictions around Laramie County. And I want to be a partner with the council and with the other councils on the Cheyenne City Council and the Alvin Town Council. I also have a lot of background with the agencies within Laramie County. During the time that I spent with the Laramie County Sheriff's Department, I developed a lot of resources that I could bring to bear with my work with the emergency management over the years, the commissioners themselves, county attorney, county finance director. So I'm very aware of everything that goes on with Laramie County government, how it operates, and how to best keep that going. So just a little bit of introduction of myself. Again, I'm Don Hollingshead, running for Laramie County Commissioner, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. If you have any questions.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming out. Good luck. Any other visitor comments? Yes.
Hi, I'm Amy Votruba with Texas Trail Museum. And this year, we wanted to try to do a little fundraiser for the museum. We want to try to do a farmer's market over in the grassy area that is owned by the town. And we want to make sure that you guys don't have any opposition to it or anything to that effect.
In the Texas Trail Park?
Museum, yeah, the little grassy area is where we would be setting up the vendors.
What are the dates on that?
We're gonna try to start the second week in June and run through the end of September, but it'll only be like the second and fourth Sundays. And we're just doing it on Sunday afternoon because we have to be at the museum anyway, so.
Mayor and Town Council, I would like to make you aware that there is going to be a major Highway 30 project going on this summer.
Oh, really?
And part of that is they will be actually replacing the culvert that goes under the road that ties in with the culvert that is right there at the corner of Highway 30 and that museum park.
Okay,
And so just, you may not be aware of that because while they're probably not gonna work on a Sunday,
right.
there's certainly gonna be.
Oh, there's gonna be construction,
There's gonna be
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
construction going on in
Yeah.
that area.
Okay.
So you may wanna take that into consideration when looking at the location.
Okay, yeah, we were planning on trying to bring it in. We're trying for twofold. Not only will we bring the vendors in to the little park area, but also we're hoping to get a little bit more traffic into the museum on Sunday, because if they come to the vendors thing, then
No, that's great.
you know?
I would say it's, I have no problem with it, other than obviously the project would
Right.
take precedence, and, you know, I don't think any of us can predict whether you'll need to move it or how it
Right.
might inconvenience you, but I guess you just.
Well, and at this point, we don't even know how many vendors we're gonna have, and if the vendors will increase, you know, or if they'll decrease. That's also a problem too, you know? We may get 10 vendors the first week, and then the second time maybe get 2, you know, so.
Was there a certain type of vendor you were looking to see?
We're gonna just try to open it up as a farmer's market with vendors. So not necessarily anything particular. I would like to see some fruit and vegetables and eggs and things like that. I would like to see that come in.
Right.
But, I know a lot of the vendors over in Burns, and I think they might be willing to come over and spot us too, a little bit.
I think that's a good plan. I hope that works out for you. I hope it gets people there.
I
think
hope
that's
so,
a great
yeah.
idea.
I think you know, we've tried vendors markets and farmers markets around here before, and we did successfully for a while, but then it just fell off, so now I'm hoping that maybe.
Well, I would be supportive too, but I would ask that you perhaps coordinate with Kim or someone
Okay.
at the town in terms of, this is more to help you. I don't think you want to try to set up on Sunday on a wet grass. and
No,
stuff,
it
so
would
we
be
need to-
weather permitting,
Well,
yeah.
I'm saying we create our own.
Yeah, yeah. Scheduled to run or
Well,
anything
I noticed the
like
guys
that.
were over there mowing on Sunday. We usually, they came over and mowed on Mondays, and so we were thinking, okay, we'll just stripe the grass and they'll mow it off the next day.
Well, if,
But-
once you get it kind of set, the days, maybe you could give us a heads up.
Oh,
so
yes,
we know how
definitely.
to shut the sprinkler system off or plan it on different days or. And if we mess up and it comes on during the middle of your event, it was
Oh, well, you
intentional,
know.
so we don't know how to read the dial.
Yeah, okay, all right, well, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for visitor comments? Hearing none, on to department reports. Dave,
I don't have any to report this month.
okay? Ally?
Nothing new for me.
Nothing new for me.
Alex? Kim?
I would like to discuss the 2024 elections and the major changes for the town of Pine Bluffs as they relate to those 2024 elections. I think that it is very important for potential candidates and voters to understand that the election process for the town of Pine Bluffs, public offices, has changed considerably. Specifically, we will no longer hold our elections in May. Our elections will be held in concert with the primary and general elections that are run by the county. And they will be part of the general election ballot and primary ballot for August and November. So what does that mean for our candidates? Our candidates this year, we are going to be accepting applications for mayor and 2 town council positions. And candidates must file during the period of May 15th, or May 16th, excuse me, through the end of the month. They can file to be a candidate here at our town hall, and they must be a resident of the town of Pine Bluffs, as well as be a registered voter. As far as the election process goes, now is the time to update your registration to vote. You can do it at any point. You can even do it on election day at the polls. However, we anticipate the polls to be very busy this year. So it's highly recommended that you update your registration or register anytime. And you can do that right here at the town hall. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4 PM. If you cannot make it here by 4 PM, somebody will remain at the office until 5 PM. You can also request absentee mail ballots at any point now. And we recommend that with some of the uncertainties in our mail system right now, that you probably should request those absentee ballots now. You can do that by calling the Laramie County Clerk's office, specifically the elections number, or you can go to the Laramie County website and get more information there. Probably the biggest change is that you will no longer be able to change your party at the polling place. The deadline for registered voters to change parties before the primary election is May 15th. That's the day after tomorrow. This information has been pushed out by the county. There have been public news releases. We had a little blurb on Facebook. But if you would like to change your party, that is a new state law. You must do it by May 15th. The deadline, there will be a blackout period from May 16th through primary election day. And that blackout period means you cannot change your party during that time. If you are registered, if you are currently registered as a non-affiliated party, then you, in order to get a ballot for the primary, you really do need to select one of the two parties. So there are several other key dates that are going to be coming down the pike. Those dates don't start until around July 23rd. That's when primary early voting starts. Please keep an eye out on our Facebook page. We will be posting that information there, and we will be listing it in the Pine Bluffs Post. But the immediate key dates to keep in mind, again, are if you would like to change your party, you must do that by May 15th. Now is the time to register or update your registration, and now is the time to request your absentee mail ballots. I think that's probably all the news for now. Like I said, as the time gets closer to some of the other dates, we will be sure to get that information out to the public. But we would like everybody to know that, you know, again, it's going to be a busy election season. And so please make sure that you get out there and get your registrations taken care of.
And Kim, just to piggyback off of the absentee ballots, I believe that you actually have a shorter period of time for those this year. It went from 45 days to, I think, 28 days.
Yes, that's correct.
So when Kim says to get those now, if you need an absentee ballot, for sure, make sure that you're getting those now.
Another thing to note is there has been, there are a large number of voters that have been purged from the Laramie County voting register. That is because you probably did not vote in the last election. So if you would like to know if you're on that purged list, or you just want to confirm that you're registered, and if you're not registered, then you can go ahead and get registered. You can just call our office. We do have a copy of that list, or you can email us at the town hall, and we will be happy to get that information to you.
Lots of big changes. Well, that's good info. Sure. We're excited about it, having our elections with everybody else.
Absolutely.
I am, for sure.
Yeah. So when people are out to go ahead and cast their vote for who the President of the United States will be, they can also cast their vote for who they want as the mayor of Pine Bluffs.
Pretty much the same position.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Oh, good. Is that all?
That's all I have for now.
Okay. And I apologize, Austin, that usually we have no one here, and I just see you're sitting back in the corner by yourself, so I skipped right over you. Do you have anything tonight?
I did, actually.
Oh, good thing I caught
I know.
that.
It's not long, so don't worry. kind of wanted to add on the cooperation with us in the county. So Sergeant Hollyhead, appreciate it. We just received tasers. All of us have been finally officially trained. I just got back from that taser training along with Brian. Sergeant Kemp and Matthew have already been trained a couple weeks prior, or a little bit longer. They're Laramie County tasers, but they're ours to use. So, you know, need new batteries or new cartridges, anything like that, they're fronting that bill. So I just want to publicly thank them for that in this forum and let you guys know that me and Sheriff Kozak have been, that's been in the works for a while, and then finally bearing the fruit of that relationship completely there. We did receive a grant for a canine vest through Protecting Canine Heroes. Stephanie is her name, who we've been working through. It's a $1,500 vest that we're getting. Once we actually get that, I'll post that on social media platform and give a shout out to them. But that's being made as we speak. It's about a 3-month turnaround, so we won't see it for a little while, but that is in the works, and so we're excited to get that. So he has a little bit more protection. He's been deployed a couple times already, so, and then lots of training. He will be training with the Sheriff's Office, Cheyenne PD training session. It's every other Wednesday. So we've adjusted for that, and that's going well, especially the amount of canine handlers they have down there and the cadre they have. It's a good team to work through. So, and I did kind of poked at my resources. We were due for vests this year. RTS Tactical, I have a friend that went to the academy with way back when, who now works for them. He got us a pretty good deal on our new vests. So I'm wearing it today, as you can see. Matthew just got his, and Brian's. They just literally came in last week. So we'll be outfitted. They're rifle rated. I think that's important for us to have here. The vests that you normally saw us wear, excuse me, are only, to get into ballistic terms, but they're only rated for handguns. They won't protect anything with rifle. These will stop up to 7.62. So I think it's important to have that out here, because there are a lot of people out here, a lot of ranchers out here that do have rifles, and I think it's important for us to have that protection because we don't have backup around the block. So, but yeah.
Great.
That's all I have.
I also saw we got the lettering on Matthew's vehicle.
Yep.
So now we know, stay back.
We still, yeah, through GLP and other resources, we needed something, either a caution or a stay back or something. Even though he's not a bite dog, we still needed something just in case someone reached their hand in and Macklin was surprised and bit him. We would need something to show that you're not supposed to walk up and stick your hand in the door. So we still need to add a canine under that we're having remade. But other than that, yeah, it's striped and ready to go. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, yeah, thank you. Announcements and meetings.
The next council meeting is next Wednesday, May 22nd at 6 p.m.
Do we have any other
Can't think of anything.
no elected officials meeting? No. No anything, huh?
Wham's June 5th, but I think I was the only one available.
Okay.
Could do the delegate then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.